Good morning, everybody. This is Gary Budd with Brett Gasky and Will Crudge on FNG Authors Podcast. Today we have a special guest, Mr. Diontae Black, a emergency voice talent in audiobooks, voice acting, whose work is earning attention in science fiction, fantasy, lit RPG, dramatic fiction. He's a graduate of Auburn University with a background in music and musical theater. Diontae brings emotional depth, nuanced character work, a cinematic style to his performance, as is the case with Will's work that we've heard. He has worked with major publishers of platforms such as Audible, Penguin Random House Audio, Tantor Media, and Athon Books. He has narrated an expanding range of titles in military science fiction, fantasy, lit RPG, nonfiction, and contemporary fiction. In addition to audio narration, Diontae has worked in film and voice performance, including the lead role in an award-winning animated feature, Four Souls of a Coyote. Please welcome Diontae Black.
Wow, guys, it sounds all so professional when you put it out there and then you're telling people about it. It's like, oh well, I've done a little stuff, and then you hear it listed out, and you're like, wow, I sound so good. Sounds so.
I've done stuff.
Well, thank you guys for having me. I'm very excited to be here. Very happy to finally actually meet Gary and Will, and you too, Brett, because you're here. Getting to narrate is a wonderful thing, but also we don't actually get to meet many of the authors kind of doing it. You're actually I think you guys are the fourth authors ever to reach out of the 70 that I've done now. So
Wow.
I'm nice. It's very cool to get to talk with you guys. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, we love it.
Well, we're very happy you can make the time for you to come here
Yeah.
because like I said, we're all big Audible people too, right? We love our audiobooks. And I know for myself, one thing I've always wondered when I decided to read a book out loud
Mhm.
professionally, what originally pulled you into that? What made you think, you know what, I'm going to do this?
Well, so the story stays the same always, I tell people. So I went into music and musical theater at Auburn. I studied it because when I graduated from high school, I got a scholarship first to go to a community college, Chattahoochee Valley Community College over in Georgia. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, if somebody is willing to pay me money to come to this, I should do all the work that I can to get decent at it, or at least a little bit better. Um, I did. And then when I got done at CVCC for 2 years and I was deciding where to go, my voice teacher there was like, go audition at Auburn. You are good enough to get in. And I was like, oh, okay. So I remember I told my parents, and they were like, okay, well, we paid for lessons. We think you're good. Both my parents don't know anything about performing or anything. They watch concerts and
Right.
stuff, but they were like, if you think you can do it, we'll support it. I went. Auburn was like, hey, we see some potential in you. Here is a scholarship. And I was like, wowzers, thank you. So at that point, I said, I can do this. I can do this. And I went through my 4 years because the double major took it. I could have been done in two if I had just made a minor and one as the other major, but I didn't. I wanted to be an overachiever. I got in, I did all that. I graduated in 2019. And I remember it was about 6 months coming up around the end of December. I remember that I had gotten the chance to, I was about to go to Texas for the auditions for Disney on Broadway. They were doing auditions for Aladdin and Frozen at the time. And I have two big brothers who live over in Texas. So I was like, I'll go stay with them for a little bit and do the audition because it was going to be a week-long thing. And that was when we heard the rumblings of COVID-19. And my dad
Mhm.
works in the hospital as an armchair psychologist. And now my mom works at the VA. So that it was I've
Oh,
been
wow.
hearing some stuff. Something's going around. And he was like, I remember we were all outside doing something because we had got the backyard finished. Or we had just got a fence. That's what it was. And we were looking at it. And he was like, I know you really want to go to this thing, but I think I would be really comfortable if you didn't. And, well, you care for your parents and you take their words into consideration because if they've done right by you, you'll do right by them, kind of thing, right? And I was like, okay, well, I care about what you guys think and I take your words to heart. So I was like, if you really don't want me to go, I won't go, you know? Then after that, I remember COVID-19 happened and they were like, we're grounding the planes and, we'll be back in 2 weeks. And then we know that we were stuck inside for like 2 years. So during that time, I play a lot of video games already and I watched a bunch of anime, I watched a bunch of movies and stuff. And I was like, wow, I know people who do voiceover. I know people who play video games and stuff. Why don't I actively like try to do this thing since I mean I'm here, I tried a little bit in college way back in like 2016. I won this competition from voice actors Yuri Lowenthal and Tara Platt. And it was like to do like 50,000 lines for charity. And I really don't know how I did it back then. I think it was just like the youth of being like 20 years old and fresh into college because I would like get out of rehearsal for a show and then come home and sit down for like 2 hours and record on my Blue Yeti microphone and be like, all right, well, here it goes. It was I want to say it was for like the company that kind of at the time was doing the computerized voices for people who couldn't speak or people who were mute, kind of like the thing that Stephen Hawking used to use. Um,
Mhm.
and so I was like, yes, I will definitely do it because one, it's for a good cause, and two, why not? It's two like cool voice actors that I look up to and have not met yet. So I had like a little bit of voice acting training, and then I was like, I will try to get into this. And I watched this video called, or it's like this video series from this lady. Her name is Bailey Varnas. And she had this series about how to get started as an audiobook narrator on ACX, which, Audible's platform for audiobooks. And I watched all 10 videos and I said, wow, okay, this seems like it's doable. She broke down like how to do your own editing, how to like look for a project, what to record, et cetera, et cetera. And so I got into it. Um, and my first like couple of audiobooks were bad. Badly edited and like, badly performed, I feel like, because I was like, I kind of didn't know what I was doing yet. I mean, like at that point, I was like fresh out of it. And I was like, I have some training with performing, but like, not behind like the microphone fully. Um, and then I decided to use that time to be like, okay, well, I did a couple of books and then started to send out stuff as I was kind of getting better and better. And I sent out this blanket email to like, I think it was like the top 20 audiobook publishers in the US. And I was like, hello, my name is Diontae Black. I'm a graduate from Auburn. Yada, yada, yada. Here's my resume in the short and sweet of it. Please hire me. Um, and like Tantor, I remember they sent back something like 2 days later that was like, wow, this looks really impressive. And we heard your voice on like the makeshift demo that I had done. They were like, um, oh no, not my makeshift demo. I had put in money. I had been doing some other voiceover classes before I got my first book with Tantor. So I did have like my professional audio, not audio book reel, but my professional voice demo. So they were like, well, your voiceover demo sounds good. Here's the first book, which was The Other Side of Prospect by Nicholas Davidoff. It is, I think it was like 15 hours or something, 15 or 16. And they were
Mhm.
like, go for it. And I had no idea how much time it would take. And I did it. And from there, it has been slowly but surely being very, very kind to me. People ask, and I have a hard time saying no about a lot of stuff because, one, I don't know, I'm a little bit of a people pleaser, but two, I also just enjoy doing the audiobook thing. I was one of those kids who like read a lot as a child, but then like, you go into college and you don't read for pleasure anymore, you read for content. So it's like, oh man, I don't have any time to read. And now I get paid to read. But of course now I don't read on my off time because like why would I want to do that more?
Right.
So anyway, that's how I
So with
got
that,
into it. Sorry.
no worries. That's great. That's a cool story. So now that you're Deontay Black, the narrator, what does your normal workday look like? Are you like Monday to Friday? time, evenings, weekends? Do you find that you have a more of an open schedule because you can do these books, or is it more than what people would think it is?
It's a little bit more than what people think it is, honestly, but also, like a year ago, I took a part-time job at the Performing Arts Center in my city. So, like, I live over in Columbus, Georgia, and we have a river center of a performing arts there, and I go there all the time. I enjoy the arts. I spend my money there, and I've been going since like 2015 pretty regularly when I started college. And I went there to see, I want to say that it was like Mean Girls, the musical, because it was like the touring production. And I remember I came up there and they were like, Deontay, we see you all the time. Why don't you work here? And you know how people say stuff, but you're doing something. And so like you kind of register it, but then like you don't. And I was like, oh yeah, that sounds good. That sounds cool. And then I went off and was doing whatever I was doing. And then I thought about it when I was telling my mom. I was like, oh yeah, they said I should work at the River Center. And I was like, huh, I think I'll apply. And she was like, yeah, it's right here. So I did. And then they got back to me like 3 months later because it was during the summer. So, there's not like shows happening then. And they were like, do you want to work here? And I was like, sure. So now my day looks a lot different because I work there about 4 to 5 hours part time and not counting like when the evenings that we have shows.
Mhm.
But it used to be like I would wake up at about 10:30 in the morning because I can sleep late because why not? And then I wouldn't go into work on a book though until about like 3:30, 4:30 in the afternoon because at that point I would have done my morning workout, I would have played my video games for a little bit, eaten, and then I would kind of sit in here and like record from like 4:30 to like 10:30, sometimes 11:30, and then stay up, play my games for a little bit more, and then go to bed and do it all again. And I was doing that for like a year and a half. That was like the regular schedule day of me. So it'd be like wake up kind of late, eat, mull around, do stuff, and then work from 4:30, 10:30, then do it all again. Now it's a little different because, I have to wake up and I'm over at the River Center by like 9:30 in the morning. Yes, 9:30. And then I get off at 2:30, but I have to go pick up my nephew because he lives with us and he has his first job. He works at McDonald's. So I go pick him up and then I come home and then I still kind of go to work at like 4:30, 5 o'clock over here. I'll just lay in my bed for a moment and be like, okay. And then that's also not like counting like, I mean, like all of those hours, I kind of do it Monday through Friday. I do work on the weekends sometimes, but like if I don't have to, I kind of won't because I do like to still enjoy myself. So I'll take the 2 days off to be like, okay, let's reset. Maybe it's like truly like kind of a day because as my dad says, he's like, you really only have Friday, like the end of a workday on Friday and all of Saturday to kind of like enjoy yourself because Sunday you're prepping to go back to work on Monday, you know? And I
Deontay,
was like,
do you find that
yeah,
your
that
voice changes, if you record early in the morning versus recording like at starting at like 4:30?
oh yeah. Oh yeah. But voice is not warmed up in the morning. And like okay, and I will out myself here and my teachers will probably be like, tisk Deontay. I should definitely warm up a lot more than I do in the morning because I'm just like, well, I'm young and I shouldn't, but I'm young, so I can just kind of like wake up and go. But I should stretch. I should stretch the voice in the morning and I don't. So when I wake up, typically, I mean, like my voice, I feel like my voice is pretty like low in all things to be considered, right? Even though it's like pretty brass and like whiny a little bit. Um, but when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, I'm talking like this the entire time. And it takes a moment for it to like warm up and get ramped so I can actually like do all of this stuff that I'm talking like how I am normally now. And it's not so bad, especially like if I have to do like nonfiction stuff. I'm like, okay, well, like that's just kind of relaying information and hoping people find it to be interesting. But like when I have to do the character work, I have to listen to the references that I keep in my in my like little audio bank, and I'm like, okay, can I do that this morning? And it's like that, and I'm like, man, I really should have warmed up. And it gets me every time, and then I'm like, you know better. So yeah, it does. Anyway, that's
So
also
with
what my normal day
with
is like.
that, Deontay, that see, like I didn't even think about that. That's such a great question
Mhm.
because, like, of course, you need to warm up your voice because you're going to be talking for hours. That just blows my mind away. So when you get your manuscript and like say military science fiction, like what we write, say when you first got Will's first book,
Yeah.
was that your first entrance into the military science fiction world? And then, if so, how did you? What did you use to kind of give yourself that reference for characters, stuff like that? I know, Will, you have a couple questions and probably some comments on that as well.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so what kind of like I'm kind of adding four questions in together is pretty much like how you work the characters in, how do you keep the character evolving, or ever you had the character evolve during your book while you're doing it? Do you find military science fiction, how different is it from fantasy or thrillers, or does it just is it the same as a fiction? And did the combat scenes were they difficult for you at first, or did you kind of have to balance the clarity and pacing with the intensity? Like, how did you get this huge book, like Will's first book that you narrated? Like, amazing! You did a great job, by the way,
Thank
and
you.
so did Will. But what level? How did you when you got that? What was your mindset, and how did you decide to?
My gosh. My mindset was this is a big book. At first, I was like, oh my goodness, that was the first thing I got from Athon too. And I was like, oh cool. Okay. I was like, Battle Space Nomad. What is this? And I looked into it and I read it. And okay. First, I have to be honest. This is also going to sound bad, but it's been said before by other people. So also preface it. Don't everybody who listens to this, don't attack me. We should read the book in its entirety before we get it or before we start recording. Now, we do not. There are probably some audiobook narrators or voice actors who do. Some of my friends who do audiobooks have also said that they skim. I am a skimmer. I cannot lie. And so I was skimming through it and I was like, okay, I think I got the like gist of this. And then I was like, oh, it keeps going. Oh, well, this is like really good. At least I thought it was. I was like, okay, I'm kind of excited now. But I was doing like a different book, I think, when I got Will's first one. So I was like, darn, I really kind of can't like devote everything to reading it, which is why I skimmed it. So then I was like, okay. When I finally was able to start, I was like, let's see what I do. And like, to be honest, because because there's like no visual reference for like what these characters kind of look like, there's like the physical description that you'll hear throughout the book, but I kind of just go off of like I go off like a template in my brain. So like I've played a bunch of video games and then I kind of go through, I'm like, okay, well, if he's this age, he's in this profession. So it's gonna kind of like, is he like young-ish? Is he naive? Is he a fresh soldier? Is he kind of like weathered? What does it all kind of come into? So then you kind of like take all of those you take all of those descriptors and then go like, okay, how much of my voice do I want it to be? How much of it is going to be like slightly elevated to a higher or lower pitch? And then like, how am I going to make it run through, or like what's their tempo, what's their speed going to be? I find that for the military fiction, it kind of lends itself to a lot of people kind of like having that if you've ever played Call of Duty, like a lot of people kind of have that more grounded sense of a voice. Like everybody's not like a JRPG hero where you're being like Demon Fang or something like that, right? You're not you're not like that elevated in the sense of a word, right? It is military sci-fi, but like all of it's still pretty grounded writing. So it's like, okay, I don't need anybody to be like yelling at the top of their lungs. We're not, I mean, we are going to save the world, but we're not like on an adventure from our like little small town to save the world. You know what I mean? So I take those and then I'm like, okay, I put it into like the Rolodex, and then I go based off of like voice actors that I grew up listening to, which like I say grew up, I'm 30, but like no, people that I played video that played in the games that I played growing up. So it's like I'll go listen to people like Travis Willingham or Patrick Seitz, some of my good friends like Melody or Robbie Davin, and I'm like, let's hear what they're doing in these video games. Can I kind of emulate that? And then I put it into the book and I'm like, that sounds like it fits. Sometimes I do get it wrong. And I'm like, oof, I'm going to try to change this partially halfway through because I know that there's a time skip that does happen in the book. So that I'm like, okay, well, maybe like they won't notice too badly if I like pitch it down a little bit if I started somebody way too high or like got the characterization wrong on it, because I do get it wrong. I cannot lie sometimes.
Fault of being human,
Yep.
right?
And I go, if I change this just a little bit, maybe it'll be fine. And it seems like it's worked so far. So now that I said that, please don't go and listen to it and be like, Diontae, what was that first one? Those first 10 chapters, why does he sound so different? It's like it's like in
I can honestly tell you, I don't think I've ever actually went, I think that voice is different. I've noticed if they completely forgot about the character,
Mhm.
like if they might have had a southern drawl or something at one point, and then all of a sudden they sound like they're from Wisconsin. Yeah, okay, you're going like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
But for the most part, tone in that hasn't bugged me as much. But Will, I know you wanted to talk to him about something about one of your characters that you loved what he did.
Yes. Hit me.
Oh yeah, actually a couple of characters. First of all, the antagonist, his name in my mind was Ramus,
Mm-hmm.
but you pronounced it Ramus.
Oh, yes.
And and the first few times I heard it, I was like, huh? But then I actually thought about it, and I was like, Ramus sounds a little bit more aggressive, sounds more intimidating, sounds more befitting of an antagonist.
Mhm.
So instead of shooting an email to Athon and be like, "Hey, wait a minute, we got an issue,"
Uh-huh.
I decided to go with it because it was something that made sense for the character.
Mhm.
So I decided to canonize it. Okay, Ramus it is. And then you have the other character that was the 7-foot tall alien with 4 arms
Mhm.
that loved food, and you absolutely brought that character to life. Like I could not imagine his voice in my head. I do when I'm typing out the dialogue to a certain degree. And but the way you had him like
Nice.
the sound effects, I was like, that you absolutely nailed that. Because you're not dealing with a human being, you're dealing with a creature that is anatomically different, so they're
Mm.
not gonna sound the same.
Yeah.
So I really appreciated that, and the the flow, the pacing, everything went well. So I sincerely appreciate everything that you did.
Well, thank you, first of all. Shout outs to my teachers at Auburn, Doctors William and Rosephine Dunn Powell, and Deidre Haig and Dan LaRock for teaching me acting and musicality of text, because it really does come in handy. And I cannot ever shout out my college enough for the fact that I get paid to do the performing thing. And I get to bring it to life. And again, to go back to the thing, it's like, because you don't have as much time as you would like to read all the books, just because of the nature of getting a lot of work. You really do have to have those cold reading skills, and sometimes you have to act on the fly. And it's like an alien. I played a bunch of video games to know what I think an alien might sound like. If it has mandibles, I've played Dead Space, where they're talking to you through your mind, and they've got slivery tentacles and whatnot, and you kind of think on the fly for the voice. Now, sometimes, if you do think on the fly, make sure to record it, because I did have that happen in some of my earlier books where I was like, oh, darn, I did something cool and I don't remember what I did. So like, put it in there and keep it. And I'm very happy that was received well too, because like when I was doing it, I was like, this might be a bit much, but I don't think it is. But but I guess I'll get a note if they don't like it. So I'm very happy and very honored to know that you liked it, Will. Thank you. What else?
Hey,
Well, I was going to say,
Well, so much so that I am actually really excited to hear what you did with mine.
yes.
That's how much I enjoyed the work you did with
Huh?
Will's.
Yeah,
Like,
it is going to
it was
be a
like,
good
I was
one.
like, because like at first I'm like, when they said, oh, we have this up and coming narrator, Diontae Black, who's going to be narrating your book. I'm like, okay. And then then I realized I was listening to Will's book
Mhm.
with you on it. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, this is okay. And now I have a voice that I can kind of put. So, but with the military science fiction, do you find like doing the combat scenes difficult by yourself, like you said, like just because it's just you in your little recording studio? And if so, do you have neighbors when they hear you scream, "Get down"?
I don't know actually if my neighbors hear me or not. There's like a little bit of distance between the houses on the left and right. Um,
Good.
so like I will yell and stuff, and I mean I used to yell in general as a kid because I was one of those two who like acted out with stuff that I did and was like I'd scream at the top of my lungs about anything and everything. So like my parents know that I'm up here screaming now. They know that I'm screaming and getting paid for it. First they were like just like, "What are you doing? Stop that." And I also sing a lot. So like it is I think like the noise is kind of just something that they are used to. However, doing like battle scenes, I don't find them to be all that difficult when you're like by yourself. And I think that's also though again because I in the medium so much because I play so many games and I watch so many movies. And I have no problem with like all of a sudden being there and like doing the fighting. Sometimes it's a little challenging when like everybody is like doing stuff layered on top of each other and you have to remember like who kind of sounds like what, how am I doing this, who is talking. And sometimes, I mean, I'm only one man. So like, even though I'm trying for 10 people, of course, like we might sound the same when we're yelling. And so I'm like, okay, please let me try to at least like differentiate this enough that it sounds different. But no, I don't find doing the battle scenes to be all that difficult. I think it's very fun. It gets me in the mood of thinking that I'm like recording for the game almost. If there's like one, it's just like, get in there and do it. I know like when they do video game sessions, they leave all of the yelling and stuff at the very, very end because it's so like vocally taxing. But I have a freedom of being able to just feel like I don't need to keep doing this after I've done it for an hour and then I'll just stop recording and come back later, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Now, with that, Deontay, are there things that you've noticed though, now that you've done so many
Mhm.
books that are writing habits that drive narrators nuts?
I don't know.
Or you wish they would do more? Like, is there like
Ooh,
maybe describe the character a bit more, or is it just like, oh, where'd that character like? Do you get that involved when you're doing the narration? Not disregarding the book and the story, but you're trying to bring it to life. So I'm just curious if any future writers, or even ourselves, if there's things that narrators generally just go, God, I wish the author didn't do that.
no, I don't think that you guys, I will be very honest. You guys don't have like any annoying like writing quips or anything that makes it a hassle that I would find to narrate.
You don't have to name anybody either,
Oh,
so don't worry about that.
no, they're not. I guess I wouldn't say like annoying, but like you know how some authors have like just a thing that they do, but then you're like, oh, okay, like when I was growing up, I read the series of Unfortunate Events. Um and I can't remember his actual name, like Daniel something, his real his real name, but the character of the writer of the books, Lemony Snicket, has the way of writing a sentence and then going on to describe that sentence in great detail because this makes sense of the sentence that I have written. And this is the word that I have used. So now I will also describe this word to you in this way so you understand why this sentence at the top of a page makes sense now at the bottom of the page. Like that's one, even though it fits in like what is going on with the kind of like absurdist nature of that book series, that's one that I imagine could be very, very annoying to narrate. And then when I would read to my nephew and my nieces and I had to read it and I was doing it, I was like, oh, this is this actually is a little irritating to like kind of keep doing because it's like 20 pages of this. And of course, it doesn't happen every page, but it's like, what is,
It's enough where you realize it.
yes, enough where you realize it. And I can't remember the young man. Oh, the author. And I was just talking about it with my friend. A pretty famous author, but he passed a couple of years ago. He wrote American fiction. He's known for being very violent. What is the story? I can't remember it, but it's the boy. The boy becomes the man, and he's also going out through like the American Midwest. And he keeps running into the judge or is he a judge? I think he's a judge, throughout the story. And like the judge is immortal. I feel like he is potentially supposed to be the devil. It's something like that. And I cannot remember it for the life of me, but his books are known to be like very, very violent. Is it called Eden East of Eden? No, no, no.
It'll come to you once the show's
It
over.
will come to me, and I'm gonna like remember and send it or something. But his writing is like it's really violent, but then he also writes in like these constant run-on sentences that like don't give you a moment to breathe or for you to be like, who is talking, who is not. It kind of just like keeps going like a waterfall, and you like, I don't know where it ends and begins. That I imagine is probably very irritating for somebody to narrate as a audiobook narrator. But like you guys, I find that the military science fiction is just as good as like the regular fantasy fiction where like you have moments of intensity, you have moments of thoughtfulness and retrospectiveness, and you have moments where the action is like at the top. And I feel like they're put in ways, or you guys have written them in ways that make sense, you know? So it's like, obviously, you know, we're kind of low key right here where we're back at base and everything talking. If it's happening in the battle, you got to do what you got to do, you know? So yeah.
Now, with that, Diontae, have you found because like you said, you're skimming a book, and obviously I couldn't imagine the amount of hours it would take to read the book in full. Then I'm going to do this for every character and then go ahead and do it. I don't think you're even given enough time in your contracts to do all
No.
that for narration. But have you been doing scenes and stuff that have actually where you just had to press stop or wait just because something you read genuinely affected you?
Yeah.
And if so, it doesn't have to be our books either, but if so, can you recall any of those that you were like, wow, that was intense?
I had this book that I did called Pucking Strong, which was like it was a romance novel. It's like a male romance novel. But in it, I remember that the character that I was playing, he almost got raped. That's what it was. And so then I was like, oh goodness. I was like, let me use a moment to stop. And that was one that I also had like the audio engineer on the other side with me. So like we read it, and then I was like, wow. I was like, okay, I just need a moment. But then I think I also needed a moment because like literally after the attempted like rape scene, him and the other like main character then like have sex. And I was like, there is nothing sexy about like surviving an assault and then like trying to have sex immediately after. And I remember I stopped and was just like, wait a minute, hold on. I need just a moment to try to like understand the dichotomy of this. And I know like romance, I've done a few romance books. I know that it's its own beast and people love that. Sometimes they love like the, oh my gosh, you know, of will they, won't they, or like the almost kind of assault, but not. And like, I get it, but I did not understand it. I had to stop because I was like, what about this is sexy? You know, I can't even imagine like if I heard something like this, and I don't like, this might be taboo to say as an audiobook narrator, but I don't listen to a bunch of other audiobooks, not because I don't find other people to be insanely talented. I know that they are. I've just never been one of those people who listened to books. Even when I was young, I didn't listen to books on tape. I would read them myself, so I don't listen to them. But I'm like, if I was to hear somebody doing this, I'm like, I would probably need to stop. And like also sex scenes are really embarrassing too. I have to stop sometimes. Even like when I'm up here like recording them by myself and I don't have like the engineer with me, I stop because I'm like, this is embarrassing. This is embarrassing to like nobody, but it's embarrassing to me and I'm doing it, but I'm like, I have to, it's my job. So yeah, there's been a couple that have made me go, okay.
Diontae, you talked about having an audio engineer. What's it like to work with somebody like that? How does that workflow work? Can you let us allude into that a little bit?
It's so wonderful. I love it because one, it keeps you accountable because you don't stop and look at your phone like I do sometimes when you're in here recording, or like you can't really get up and be like, I need a snack, or like I'm gonna go do this or that. No, you have somebody who's there with you. They are there on the time that you are for the next like 5.5, 6.5 hours, right? Lunch built in sometimes if y'all take it. And y'all have to get something done. And I find that when you have somebody there, kind of like it's like having a workout buddy almost, you're like, I really cannot be lazy. I can't stop what I'm doing and I kind of can't be off, so I need to be on top of it. I need to be working with them. And it's good too because they'll catch some stuff that you say, or maybe like you flub a line, or maybe you just miss a word and they'll say, oh, actually go back. You missed like the it's or the, and you're like, oh, didn't even know it, because you'll get into a flow sometimes. I have not yet ever made it to where like a book that I've done, I haven't had pickups. I've had some more than others, right? But like never have I just done a book completely perfect with not a single mess up, And when you have somebody there whose job it is to just read the book with you and listen to the performance, it is so helpful. I kind of wish that all of my books could be like live directed sessions with people, because I would get it done maybe in the same length of time, but I definitely don't feel like I would fudge as much time sometimes, you know what I mean? Or like procrastinate as much. It is a wonderful experience. I enjoy it a lot.
Now, when you're recording all these different stories, there has to be times where you just you read something and you just absolutely lose it. Like either you're just laughing hysterically, or you're like whatever, or it's just kind of like the most oddest line that you have to take seriously, even though there's no like
Way.
how do you work your way through that?
Yeah. Oh my God. You kind of just do it, and then you're like, this sounds so ridiculous. You're like, this just sounds so stupid. I can't believe it. Like, again, that not saying like not saying that romance writers are like all the fault of this, but like a couple of the romance books have like some ridiculous things that people say, and you're just like, okay, I try not to laugh because I'm like, this is a very serious thing that I am doing. I am a serious performer until I have to read something about like, someone pouring honey on them, or like them trying to use like sex toys badly, and you're like, how can this be done seriously? But like, I can't.
Well, these are good tips for Will, because he's doing a erotic thriller adventure military sci-fi trilogy coming out.
Listen,
No.
Will's been quiet for too long.
No, all my sex scenes are implied. I try to keep things tasteful, like behind the scenes.
It's not right. There's like a level to it. And sometimes, sometimes the overt stuff works, sometimes that's what people have signed up for, and that's what you're about to read. Mm-hmm. I like some of the books that I have done with it. All of them. Okay, actually, too, let me say this. Most of them, not all, but most of them have been extremely tasteful with the sex scenes. It's just that like they'll say stuff that is so ridiculous that you're like, I can't imagine anybody even saying this when they're like,
hey girl, you look finer than a new set of snow tires.
Exactly. It is something like, you would be surprised, and it's stuff like that. And you're like, okay, I can't. You're like, I can't. And I do laugh as it's embarrassing to say, I know, but sometimes we are only human.
We are. And that's why like, I know we're like, when we're talking about having you come on the show, it's because in today's market, as you're well aware, Diontae, audiobooks are huge.
Yeah, I know. It's like 5 billion, like, 10 billion, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a crazy market, right? And right now, especially in the military science fiction, I highly invite you to check out some of your fellow narrators like R.C. Bray, Mark Boyette, Jeffrey Kafer, because I feel in this genre, you're kind of you're the next, you're going to replace them.
How?
Essentially. As they retire and stuff, you know what I mean? You're the new one coming in. You got the voice, you got the talent, you got the skill, you got the passion for it. And you hear it in the book. Like we've all listened to books where we're like, this person is not into this book at all.
Yeah.
This is a paycheck. Now with going there, AI is all the rave. Now everybody uses AI for everything. I've heard an AI generated book and I made it through maybe the first 2 chapters. Because it was very AI. I don't know if you guys have heard any other AI books out there. Is that even an issue for you as a competitor or future replacement, or do you guys don't even not a thought?
I think, well, a lot of people have been talking about it, especially other actors online. And I do think that it is a real concern because, we are real people. We talk, we have feelings, we have emotions, and how well a robot or an AI simulates it, they are still simulating it, right? I don't think that we've hit the point of like Pragmata or Persona 3 where all of a sudden our robots are gaining like spiritual cognizance, right? Or anything like that. Consciousness, that's the word I was thinking of. I don't think that we've hit that. However, there are billions of us on the planet and technology improves every day. And so our AI can be improved to sound pretty realistic at times. I feel like you have to like listen a lot in order to kind of catch what kind of is an AI voice. I try to listen to a lot of I listen to a lot of videos on YouTube when I'm working out about like just space in general because I'm like, it's fascinating, right? And like maybe like half of them. So like 1 out of every 2 has like AI dialogue. And I'm like, ugh, and it really does take you out of it because then you're like, okay, well, they have the same cadence. They have the same like tone that they're using to narrate. And then you're like, I don't want to hear this. And unfortunately, I feel like people are making it with books and narration because it's like you can take a voice because like also, now we've had 20 years, 25 years of like the internet kind of being like free roam. Maybe I would say 32, like my age, right? Of like the internet being public use for people. People have put out videos or like recordings of themselves. So this AI has like plenty of stuff to pull from and you don't have to pay a human person to like do it. You don't have to pay them for their time. You don't have to pay them for repairs of like the books or anything. I think people go to it because it's a quick fix for something that they feel is frivolous in and of its own right. And I'm not saying that like I am so important or like any actor, singer, performer is like the most important job on the world. We're not. We are doing our job for the brevity and consumption of other people to try to make their lives feel a little bit easier for all of the, real serious stuff that people do, but they should get paid a lot more than kind of what I get.
Truly believe, like for example, for audio for me, like when I remember for 2020, I was in Kuwait on tour, and the only aircraft that could fly were obviously military operations against ISIS. And because, as Will knows, and you probably know with your parents, and every soldier has to have a family care plan.
Yes.
Well, a global pandemic wasn't in many people's family care plan. So we actually had to send a lot of people home. And so those of us who were still there were double, triple had it. And audiobooks is what I escaped to. That's where I got away from the real world and I went into the fake world or pretend world, whatever you want to call it. And listening to these stories. So no, those anything that creates, I believe, does more than help. I find it heals, it preoccupies, it makes you realize, you know what, it could be worse. I think there's more to it than that. So please, I hope I didn't go on a tangent there, but especially just reading a book, it sounds so simple and everybody goes, oh, I could do this. I could tell you right now, I wrote books and I can't. I couldn't imagine reading it. And I know the voices I have in my head, right? But just know that I know with everything that's created and put out there, and if one person reads it and likes it, you've touched them. You know what I mean? And that's the greatest part about this.
Thank you.
So sorry, I just had to do it.
No,
No, but
that means a
I
lot.
just I just wanted to touch base on the AI. I got selected for a beta program through Amazon. They're testing their virtual voice. So some of my older indie works are virtual voice narration. Now, I would have never done this had I not been individually selected by Amazon,
Right.
And I was like, okay, well, this is a beta test. This is a beta program. We'll see how it goes. And I get the reviews on that. I get fortunately they break it down to where you can rate the performance and rate the book itself separately, which is great because my star rating would have been terrible if they had not done that, because so many people, the most common concept was, I love the story, but the performance was lacking. And there's something to be said about a human, to where even if a human makes an occasional error,
Yeah.
that human is relatable. That somebody that's going to invest the time and money into an audiobook doesn't want to hear a computer read it to them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'll never do virtual voice narration going forward with any other books of mine. But it was being part of the process, being part of that program, opened my eyes to what the readers actually want, and what they want is authenticity. And people like you bring that authenticity to the genre, the art form, I should say.
Yeah.
Because, voice narration is its own art form.
Really is. And like, thank you both.
It truly is.
Thank you both for that. I mean, like, I don't mean to ever belittle what I do. I feel like there are just so many more important things that, like, what you guys do, or have done.
Well, we're all self-deprecating, so don't mind us. Like
Nice.
we get you there. Like the hardest thing to do is compliment yourself, right? So
100%.
Well, one question I have for you that I'm curious about, and obviously it's probably in my book too, but what, all seriousness, what book series is out there that is like your dream to narrate, like to bring your version of it out there?
I don't know, but I was thinking, I had just saw Alien again, recently. I saw it, I think, was it last year, but they put it in theaters for the 45th anniversary of it. When I went and saw that, I was like, oh man, years ago when I was a kid and I didn't really know the importance of stuff, or like, what I had like a book. I had one of the novel versions of Alien, and I thought it was so cool. I don't know where it is now. I would love to like read the novelization of that again, and just kind of like the series. I think it's a great story in and of itself. It's a great movie series. I would love to kind of give that life. I would love to read Dune if they ever have like somebody else have another audiobook version of it, because like the movies were fantastic. I've seen the one from, I believe it's the 80s, and I saw the newest ones that have come out too. I think it's great. It's one of those book series that's also just, it's got so much in it that it's like, wow, you could find something new every time you read it. And I feel like I would do a very good job if I could have a chance to do it. I would also like to read some Percy Jackson stuff, but that's also because I grew up reading it. And one of my friends, Ravi Damon, he does the series, the Trials of Apollo series for Rick Riordan, which he did those 5 books. And he's great. He's phenomenal. And I'm like, man, if I got to do a Percy Jackson book, I could die happy.
Hey,
Now with
Diontae,
that, what is the one thing? Oh, hit me. No, go ahead, Brett, please.
hey, I was just going to ask, with you getting into to voice acting, is there anything that you would tell somebody who is like in the arts, who's looking for something to do, who
Mhm.
would you suggest voice acting to them? Is that something that you
Would.
would push
I
forward with
would
people?
wholeheartedly. I say all the time to many young people now, like younger than me, that I feel that colleges, especially like performing arts degrees or tracks, don't give people enough of an idea of like what they can do with their degree. Like I have an image in my phone that's like, what all can you do with a music degree? And it's like actually like 200 jobs. People think that, of course, that you're like, oh, I'm just going to perform or teach or something like that. But it's like, no, you can do so much more. Now, of course, that being said, even though I am using my degrees to perform, voiceover is not one of those things I feel like people thought about because of the fact too that like, I would say until about like 2015-ish, like it was very much kind of a segregated niche industry of its own, like away from other kinds of performing, right? Like you might think to yourself, you're like, oh yeah, that somebody's doing that at the radio station or whatever, right? But they're like working at it every day doing radio imaging. Or like 20 years ago, they were doing the stuff up in New York with 4Kids and putting out the Saturday morning cartoons, like how I was getting introduced to things like Yu-Gi-Oh or Digimon or Kirby. And like they're doing that up there in New York. But the New York market is completely separate from like the Texas market with Funimation and Sentai Filmworks and ADV Films and that anime that's coming out, but all that is also separate from like LA doing Sunrise, Aniplex, all of the video games that are coming out from there, right? And like they were not interacting. And so I feel like unless you were there, right, you might stumble into them. But a lot of people also did not know that it was like still something that people could do. You'll listen to many of those early actors, like again, Yuri Lowenthal and Tara Platt talk about how they eloped and then they were out there in LA and they were like, okay, well, we're making money as actors. We're kind of like doing stuff on like film or like some TV shows. And then all of a sudden you hear this thing about like voice acting. Okay, well, what's that? Well, we need to get paid. We need to do something, right? Or I want to keep
Yep.
acting. So then you go and do it. And then you find this whole market of video games that are coming out, right? I mean, like, I'm sure that you guys have seen, or, well, I think, well, yeah, we're all in the same age range except Brent. Happy birthday, by the way, because you just turned 50, you said. You know,
No, I said I was 50. I didn't just turn 50 though.
okay.
Like we're just all old.
Ah,
Is it your birthday, Brent?
Lots of great. No, October. I'm good to go for another little bit.
okay. Well, you
Same.
might remember
I'm a Scorpio.
when they had like outside of GameStop when people were lining up for like the PlayStation 2 and they were showing that, which also like went into like the Museum of Technology a couple of years ago. And I was like, really? The PlayStation 2 is like that old? And then I checked and I was like, wow, what do you mean? What do you mean when Nintendo 3DS came out 15 years ago? I'm playing mine in my room right now,
Yeah.
It's like, but there,
Well, I was 20 when the Xbox came out.
see, like that's crazy. I was like, I feel like, how old was I when Xbox came out? I might have.
Like the first Xbox.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Like
that was
Halo,
Yeah,
everything.
yeah,
like,
that was like November of 2001, something like that.
Yeah, I was like 7.
I stayed
And
home
so
from school sick the day that Nintendo Zelda came out. That was
Mhm.
me.
Okay, so yeah, it's just man. So
so one question I am curious about, Diontae,
yeah.
is what is your time limit? Like you get the book, here's we want you to do this.
Mhm.
Like, are you literally just reading a book, or are you having like a larger electronic script that you can read for larger font? And like, so you get it. How long does it take you? You can use Mind Wills if you want for an example
Mhm.
of you started, you recorded it, it got
Mhm.
approved and is getting released. Like how long does that process usually take?
I feel like it takes probably like a month or 2 for it to like go through the full process of being recorded, sending it, they've approved it, they send me back um like pickups or anything that I need to do for like repairs, and then like it going out into publication. I feel like that's about the time frame. It takes me about 3 weeks to like do a big book. I try to normally give myself 2 weeks for stuff that I know is like 8 to 10 hours, because like that's kind of like doable over the course of 14 days, right? Like come in, try to do 20, 30 pages a day. You'll make it to the 200, 300 mark. Sometimes you have to add a little bit more, take a little bit less off, but like usually in that time frame, I get it done. For your guys' books, I remember that it did take like a month, because like I was also doing other books, which like I need to stop taking on more work than I can do. But I get
Too much work is never a bad thing, though, right?
that's very true. And I get it done. So then I'm like, oh, I can do it. And then I'm always like, no, I need to stop doing that so I can actually have time and not like crunch time. But, if you get it done in crunch, you're like, oh, I can
Or
do it.
confuse the characters in between books.
Yeah, I do sometimes actually. But like,
Yeah.
I've gotten very good. I have like 2 voice banks open for like books that I'm recording simultaneously. So I can be like, okay, this one is this one, this is that. So I keep it separate. But I think that that's about the time, because I'll do a book, then, for instance, Tantor or like B Audio that I've worked with, they'll give me like a timeline, and they're like, you'll record the book within these 2 weeks, right? Then next week, the week after you get in that final recording that you put towards, we'll give you the packet for your pickups. Then you'll have like 2 or 3 days to do the pickups, then send it to us, and then we do everything else. And I did that for, I believe the book was called The Happiness Reboot, and it just came out, I want to say 2 weeks ago, a nice little nonfiction book. And I think that was the process of it. So it was like probably a month and a half. So that is how it goes. Once it leaves like me, I kind of am like, I have no idea. I have no idea what they are doing with it, but I hope that
Well, Diontae, I can't tell you how much we appreciate your time today. It's been absolutely fantastic. Like surpassed the amount of information I was hoping to learn, which is always amazing. But could you please like just let us know what you have coming out, what you're doing, even outside of audiobooks? If you're doing something and you want other people to have attention, please feel free to advertise yourself here to
Let's see.
YouTube.
Let's see what I have coming out, you guys. I'll tell you in a second.
Felt like the hot wings eating show there. Tell us what you have going on.
I know. I just finished this other book called Project Blackwell, Operation Condor, that is going to come out. It's like it's a sci-fi coming of age book about teenagers having to intercept like nuclear codes from Russia. It's pretty in depth. I've enjoyed it a lot while I was reading it, so I was like, "That's very good." I believe the author, she is new. I think this is her debut novel. But it was really good to read. It's very rich. It feels like kind of like your guys' books. It feels very cinematic. Like I was like, wow, I could see this kind of being like a TV show or a movie. And I was like very excited for that. I finished all of the pickups last week, so it is supposed to be coming out in a couple of months. So listen to that. What else do I have? I'm supposed to be working on this other romance series called Jaded, another hockey romance, since I guess everybody's like into hockey romance now because Heated Rivalry came out or something, which I haven't watched, but like apparently it's really good.
Everybody but the hockey players,
Yeah.
from what I understand,
Yeah,
is into it. So
I guess I don't know.
Hawk
And then I'm
fantasy? Is that a genre?
Yeah. Listen, the sports romance genre for people, they love it. I don't get it, but like I am happy to kind of interpret for them, and a lot of people seem to enjoy it. So there's that.
absolutely.
And then there's something called Infinite Bond that is supposed to be coming soon, but I haven't started recording, but it's supposed to be like a male-female romance of life through the eons of ages with supernatural romance and things. So that's pretty cool. I hope other stuff comes out too. I hope I get to do more things, but that's what it is. So look out for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, well, I mean, book 3 in the Nomad series is still
It's being written.
a thing. It's
Oh.
it's written and out. Athon should be getting a hold of you sometime.
If they do, I listen. I will never turn down a book, and you guys write very well. So I also will not turn it down
Thank
from
you.
Yeah, and then that one, it involves them infiltrating a strip club, so there'll be plenty of hilarity, awkwardness.
See, so look forward to that too, guys. For me. Oh.
So
Hey.
one thing we'd like to do as well before we end is a tip from Will.
Mhm.
Yes, thank you for the
So
segue.
please take us away, Will.
All right, and because we're talking about audiobooks, here's a tip. Write your dialogue as if there's going to be an audio book.
Yes.
In other words, be very concise as to who is speaking. And like, for example, after going back and listening to Diontae's work on my series, the Nomad series, on my current project, I started writing AI snippets where it's an AI speaking,
Mhm.
but only the reader would. Whereas the narrator would be able to just spit out the line, and then the reader would be like, "Okay, what the hell is going on?" Unless the narrator is gonna do a very specific AI voice or whatever, then it may make sense. But put your tags where you need them to be, so you don't confuse the audience. And that's my tip. Always write as if you're gonna have an audiobook, read it back, and don't confuse the listeners.
Hey, Diontae, thank you so much for being on today. We really appreciate you and all of your expertise. And I'm
Thank
looking forward
you.
to maybe having to do mine too. We'll see what Athon does with mine when they come out. So
Yes,
and for all of our
sir.
audience members, thank you guys so much for watching to the end. All that like and subscribe and the doobly doo stuff that goes on down below. And hey, thank you all for being here. And really, it's been a pleasure. So have a
Yeah.
great day.
Thank you. Bye, all.
God bless.